Well, hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Derp Your Hooves. So today, we're going to do a video that I actually wanted to do before I did the Bell 407 tutorials, and that is the V-22 Osprey. And so we're in the Air Force version, so it would be the CV-22. Now, you can get this from Orbex. Oh, and I wanted to say again, before we start our tutorial, right now I am endorsed by nobody. So there's two ways to take off. There's a vertical takeoff and landing, which you can do this way with in the cells at 60. Or the V-stall, which is a vertical short takeoff and landing, which is this way. Or you can raise in the cells to, say, 90, from 60 degrees to 90. As you can see, the number goes up. 87, 88, 90, which makes it a right angle, and it goes right up. We can take off like a helicopter. And we can just nose it down and hover over the active runway. So this is a fun little thing to have in the sim that they just put out. And, I mean, I'm going to say, obviously, it's not accurate, and I am lowering the nacelles so that we can go into a easier forward flight. And I have not mastered this. I'm just kind of playing around with it as we fly, and as you can see that we lower the nacelles, and it drops altitude as it drops speed. Now, if you're not careful, what this thing will do to you is it'll overspeed. And if it doesn't overspeed, it'll go into a vortex ring state. So you kind of want to watch the throttle. And if I remember correctly in the release notes, let's take those gears up. There's something about watching the vortex ring state. So, it comes with a bunch of cool little features, and no, it's not real to life. As a matter of fact, I was just discussing it with a friend of mine who happened to be in the Marine Corps, and he was a mechanic on these for the Marines. And, you know, he had informed me that, like, for things like the vortex ring state, the aircraft actually warns you before that happens.
Yokota Tower, Derp Y Delta Echo Romeo Papa, minus Yankee frequency change.
Whereas in the sim, when you're flying this thing, it will just do it. Okay, so we got 5 degrees on the nacelles. And if I just bring them lower to 0, it gets a little bit of a stutter sometimes. And if you do it gradually and you're careful, you won't overstress the aircraft, and that way you can have your nacelles forward and you could be flying just like a plane. And it's got trim just like a plane. Now, unlike the new Bell 407, you know, my rudder trim, my rudder staple, obviously all those, you know, the pitch trim is not going to work. I can have a pitch trim like an aircraft where it goes up and down. And I had said this is a lot like the R-44 helicopter, where it lets you do that. And there is an autopilot in this. It's mainly for hover from what I read, but at the same time, it's still pretty cool. So we're going about 239 knots, and we are at an altitude of 2,000 and change. And there's all kinds of cool stuff that you can do. I mean, you can sit here and you could say, okay, well, we've got our, you know, our navigational aid there, but we can also take a look at our map. We go to FLIR, forward-looking infrared. We get kind of a map. And we can get an artificial horizon. And none of the above. So that'll kind of tell you where you are. So, although this might not be true to life, and it's not true to life, and I mean, what I know firsthand, no, like I said, I saw a prototype of this during my time of service, and it was sitting in a hangar, you know, not doing anything at all, just parked. So, although it was a fun conversation to have, and it was kind of cool to learn about the prototype. I had never seen an Osprey actually fly in all my years of service, short as they may have been. But although they were flying, I never saw one. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start raising these nacelles. And it's going to drop my airspeed drastically. Now, I don't want to drop it too much. Because if I drop it too much, you'll see what happens if I drop it too much. If I drop it too much, I'm going to lose so much critical airspeed that I'm going to fall from the sky. We're going to bring our gears back. We're going to kind of bring it in like a helicopter. The best we can, so you want to watch out for that. Where it's saying there's not enough airspeed. So if we bring the cells back up, that goes away. Then we can again bring them down to 90. And just watch your airspeed. Because it will, that's your little vortex ring state right there. I mean, that's going to kill you. So keep an eye on your airspeed as you're flying. And as you're descending. So we almost lost it there. Now, you really got to play with this just a little bit to get it to where you want it. And so unfortunately that also means that you really can't kind of hang out in third-party mode too much. Because it doesn't like sync rate. So you don't want that going off either. So this is a little bit more of a challenge than a helicopter. I heard you the first time, but I'm too high, and I'm going too fast to hit the helipad that I want. Alright, no, I heard you. So I'm basically flying it as a helicopter, and I'm keeping an eye on my knots. And I can turn it with the nacelles up at 90. I can rotate it like I would a helicopter. And, you know, I'm totally fine with the fact that this may not be totally realistic. Because, again, it's a sim. And we're just kind of having fun flying. Now, I mean, if they were to make it much more realistic, hey, great. And if they improve it, that's great, too. But at least for right now, I mean, much like the F-35, you can kind of just enjoy it, even if it's not necessarily totally true to life. And let's just take it here. Try and like put it down on this helipad. And again, if you're watching my 407 videos, you remember how I was talking about being careful. Because we don't really want to cowboy it in. Especially until we know how it handles. And for something this big, we definitely want a larger helipad. Not just something small that like a 407 can fit on. So that's perfect. And we'll just set our parking brake. And there we go. And we're on it. We can actually unset our parking brake. And in this, we could actually rotate our nacelles forward. Like you can't do in a helicopter. And just give it a little bit of fuel, see? And just roll it forward to the center. Because in a helicopter, you'd be dragging the skids. And we can center it. And yes, there are certain helicopters like the Black Hawk and stuff where they have wheels and you can roll them forward, but most conventional helicopters do not, so we can open the ramp door. And it's got a door on the side. And all those animations work. As you see, the ramp door comes out. And you can let Special Forces out to go do whatever it is that you guys came to do in this building in Tokyo. Sure, it'd make the great subject of an anime, right? You know, and that's pretty much it. So you can take off like a helicopter, you can land like a helicopter, you can. And it has instrument lighting. So, there we go. Because it's starting to get dark. So you can do all kinds of cool things with it. And I really haven't mastered it, but like I said, you can set the autopilot, you can set the vertical speed. This is just a little bit of what it can do. Again, I think it's lots of fun. I'm going to try and kind of leave this video about here today. Maybe not make another half-an-hour video. So, that's it. You know, V-22 Osprey. If it's the Air Force version of the V-22 Osprey. You can get it on Orbix if you want to get it third party, and it's just a whole lot of fun to fly. So, just wanted to show this off to you guys and just do like a, real quick takeoff and landing. So we took off from Yokota Air Base and landed on, I don't know what tower in Tokyo. Whichever one that, I don't know, we had to do a black bag operation in today. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you like what you saw, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. So again, everybody, thank you for watching Derp Your Hooves, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the skies.